off-roading experience. Hopefully you heard it through my voice and just the excitement. It was a lot of fun. I mean, there was a moment, I don't know.
And the vehicle was on the side. Oh, chickens.
Oh, there's chickens. Why did it? Here, hang on. Oh, I can't do it. I can't switch it. But we got 1, 2, 3 chickens.
Rooster.
One is a rooster. Yep. Oh, he's running. Go, buddy, go. Go. I do love chickens. I love having chickens. They're so easy. They're so easy to keep. And then you get eggs. Like, who doesn't love eggs? So anyway, sorry about that distraction, but there was a moment in time where I was like, we're going over the edge.
Yeah. All because of the articulation. Like, oh, we're about to flip the truck.
Yeah. Now, when we get a little more brave, I'm just going to say brave.
Then we'll go to deeper waters, but not now.
Yeah, well, then maybe we can, like, back up, do it again. I can get out and film from the outside. So you can, because I'd like to see the effect, that it has on the truck. And I'd like to see the articulation because, like I said earlier, with the Nissan Frontier, I think it doesn't get enough respect. And I know, we've seen the videos, people, comparing, doing different tests with the Nissan versus the Tacoma versus the Canyon versus the, what's the other one? Not the Canyon, Colorado. So, I mean, I'm glad that the Nissan Frontier is in the conversation, as it should be. But I think, and especially with the 2025s that are coming, just with some tech upgrades, like with the camera system. I think that's definitely with the monitor, all of that, the infotainment center. So I think Nissan has heard the complaints or, the feedback, we'll say, from people. So I think that's going to be addressed. And if they can keep the price point in proportion to what it is currently, then, I don't see why it wouldn't be a really good option, a good choice. We'll always consider keeping a Nissan Frontier in the arsenal, in the fleet, just for that. So, your final thoughts, babe? You do it again?
Oh, definitely.
Would you do this trail again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, with a little bit more experience behind my back, I mean, I'll definitely do this trail again. I mean, for the first time, never done off-road except for, or kind of like fake off-road that we did when we went to West Rock.
Oh, yeah,
Toyota.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've never
that
really
was
done it. And that way we had instructors that was telling us what to do and where to turn. So, this you have to just figure it out on your own. And, just being one of those quote-unquote professional drivers that just made me just start thinking about maneuvering.
Yeah.
Different maneuver. I mean, driving a tractor trailer made sense. And, that's where he came into play.
Yeah. And that's what I was trying to really say, especially the couple times you got out and looked,
Well, same thing with a tractor. I mean, if I wasn't sure about where I'm going to back the truck up, I always get out and look to see my surroundings just to make sure I can line it up the right way.
Yeah.
If I don't have a visual, then I can't, pretty much I might as well just call it, look, we're going to flip this. That would be it. And with us being the only two out here today, a day like today, there's no rescue until tomorrow.
Right. True story.
There's no rescue until tomorrow. So it's something that, we was in a situation where we couldn't go backwards, so we had to go forward. So, hey, we either did it or we'll just have to figure out how to turn around. And it wasn't that easy because the trail wasn't that wide for a full turnaround.
So, let me ask you this. What are your thoughts of ever bringing the GX on that trail?
No.
That's what I thought you would say.
I don't see it unless I get a little bit more ground clearance on top of it, like, get a Westcott lift on it or something like that. I know he has the articulation and stuff like that, but I don't see it until, I get a little bit more lift.
I think
because we did have 2 scrapes.
Yeah.
And I don't think,
I think if on that particular trail, if we didn't have those two rocky areas, I think it would have been okay.
Right, it would have been perfect.
It would have been okay. So we're gonna we've got the Onyx off-road app.
I mean, we'll keep testing out all the trails, and then when we find one that's suitable for us to do without the rock crawling and you know, the craters. Like, I mean, that was a deep.
Yeah, that was pretty deep.
I mean, 9 inches of ground clearance is not enough for that kind of, you know.
Yeah, and I mean that's good information. But I think it's good to have the Nissan to kind of be the I don't want to say guinea pig, but just to be the flagship, you know, just to.
Well, I mean, if you start looking at price point, what would you tear up more? $40,000 versus 80,000. I mean, you just have to think about, you know.
You gotta be smart.
You have to be smart about it. Now, you can go buy use Tacoma or use Nissan Frontier, you know, use even 4Runner. And you can modify those and then go rock crawling and you're not worried about it because, you know, you spend $20,000 and you can tear that up.
Right.
But if you're buying something for 80,000, you want to be a little bit more careful in where you go with it. So, I mean, as far as rough roads, rocky roads and stuff like that, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when it comes to rock crawling, not happening.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's smart, and I know there are different groups out there, and we love to watch them. We love the videos.
But they also modify it.
They're able to modify. Well, first of all, they modify. Well, sometimes they take them out stock just to see, and then they can take them back to their shop and do the repairs, do the rest of the modifications. And so, I think that makes sense for certain people.
Right.
We're not those people. You know, we have to have a guy, and we do have a guy. Thankfully, we do have a guy. But we don't want to just
but at
be
this
irresponsible.
Time, he won't
that's true.
He won't do anything with the GX because he has a KDSS system, which is, you know.
We do. So our GX 550 is the Overtrail, and so that's equipped with the EKDSS, which is the kinetic dynamic suspension system, and so it's a little more complicated when it comes to moving things around underneath. And so if you're not really familiar with it, then you can mess it up, and that's what our guy that does our work for us, he explained. He said he's just not versed enough in it that he would feel comfortable doing it. Again, now we know there are people out there who can do it, and I would feel confident, but and that may be something down the road. Take a road trip out west, find one of the companies who are good with it, or just as time goes on and more people get experienced in it. So but honestly, we got the Overtrail, and the hope was really to not have to do very much to it, modification wise. So to Ty's point, we've talked about getting more of a bulletproof 5th gen 4Runner and certified used or something, and then just going to town, modifying it and doing the rock crawling, and then you don't cringe as much when you do bottom out or you make those scary noises.
You put some skid plates, just get some solid skid plates.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a company out there called Prinsu CBI, and they do skid plates for the entire underbody.
Yeah, the whole underneath.
So you figure more or less you get one of those and you plan on doing some modifications to it, then you just put skid plates under it. Then you don't have to worry about stuff like that. But if you spend $20,000 and buy $20,000 to $30,000 and buy a 5th gen 4Runner used, and then put maybe about $5,000 to $10,000 modification on it, okay, then you could go off-road and modify, with that, and you could use that for your rock crawling, mudding, whatever. You're not worried about it. But you buy a brand new truck that's, it's proven on small trails based off of what Lexus tells us, but it hasn't been proven, in the real world yet.
We've seen a couple. There was one that was eye-opening, and I forget who it was, and that was more not necessarily the ground clearance, but it was more the approach angle.
Right.
And so
the articulation where when he came up to it and the wheels just
as long as you catch the wheels will take it up. So even if it looks scary or precarious, like oh my gosh, you're going to scrape the front, you really don't if you can catch the wheels, because the wheels will lift it up. So that was kind of eye-opening to me. And again, y'all are coming on this journey with us, me especially, because I'm new to the car game. Ty has always been a car person, and so my car experience was, please just let me get from A to B. So this is like a whole new world for me, just to experience it and to learn it. And he's been great about educating me and helping me figure things out. And that's one of the things that really, you know, when I watch the different videos and things, it helps me understand, like, okay, that makes sense. And if I can wrap my mind around it, engineering wise, and the why behind it, then I get it. So it took me a long time to learn about offsets and, you know, just the modifications and even just the way a vehicle is put together. So, you know, once you kind of get the basics and you understand that, then you can learn more. And then, you know, where we are now, like, I think Ty did a great job just now on that trail, because like and I know it's probably harder to see on the videos, but you know, when you're looking at it, you're looking over the hood and you're seeing, I mean, it looks a little daunting. And so you could go to, if you go to the left, what's going to happen? If you stay center, what's going to happen? If you go to the right, you know, what's going to be the best course of action? And so for someone who's not an off-roader at all, I mean, he was, in my opinion, he was spot on, because we got through.
We only had 2 wheels on the at one point we only had 2 wheels on the ground. It was 2 wheels off completely. Wasn't touching anything.
Who are we? I don't even know who we are. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I got a little butterflies the time or two I was on phone.
Oh no, we're about to flip. Hey, look, we only see it on TV.
I know. And then I'm like, oh boy, the people waiting for the tow truck, and I was like, oh, please don't let that be us. Not today. But it does feel scarier, I think, than it actually is. But
I will tell you this: after doing that, it wasn't the biggest one or whatever the case may be. It was small, but after doing that, I have a different respect for a person that chooses to be an off-roader.
Yeah.
I have a different respect for a guy that goes out there day in, day out, and go in and out of those things with no issues. I have different respect. I mean, not saying I had no respect for him before, but it's today it just made it grow a little bit more for me.
Yeah.
And with doing it myself and seeing how scary it could be if you make one mistake, you can flip the vehicle or tear the whole thing up.
Yeah.
You know, so I have a different respect for those guys. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying I didn't respect it before, but it's just, it grows
now you know firsthand.
It grows a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you just don't know what you don't know. And then and that's, I think, the awesome thing about just life in general, you know, taking chances, calculated, chances, calculated risks, and not like being irresponsible or, but, you do the research, you figure it out, and you're like, okay, and you make that choice. But that's kind of what life's about.
Right.
You can sit on the sidelines, and that's okay. And there are a lot of things we like on the sidelines.
So, what I've noticed in off-road community, there's actually like a cult. Like, if you have the Jeep guys, there's a whole bunch of guys that goes together.
Yeah.
Toyota, a whole bunch of guys go together. Most people don't try to go off-road alone.
Sure.
And the reason being is if situations like this, the air down, if you have a truck that flips, you need somebody to be winched out and stuff like that. We taking it up on our own to go out there because it was the smallest trail and it was the first time.
Yeah.
But if I had to do it again, I'll make sure that I'll find a group, join a group, and go with a group of people where just in case something does happen, we have people that can help us out, like maybe pull us out of a bad sticky situation, or even call a tow truck if we don't have the availability to do so.
That's a good point. That's also what I talked about, being smart about it and not taking unnecessary chances. We researched this trail. It's easy. So I didn't, and plus we're in the right equipment. So, I wouldn't bring my Lexus IS 350 out here. There's no ground clearance. I would have been stuck. It would have been a disaster. So you have to be smart. Make sure you have the right tools and equipment. So we've got 4-wheel drive. We've got the rear lockers. We've got the equipment that can make sure that we don't take unnecessary risks. So, and that's what kind of fuels the adventure. And we've seen that over and over in different people. They go out and they get stuck and just not using their heads, of course. So now, and that's not to say that you can't get in trouble even if you have the right equipment. lot of times I say, oh, sometimes it's the operator. And again, that's why I give Ty a lot of props, because he's so great with maneuvering and handling, and driving. And I am very thankful he was the one behind the wheel and not me. So that was really good. So, well, I think that wraps up our very first off-roading experience. I'm so glad you all were here. So we're gonna have more. Stay tuned. We'll find some trails. We'll be in our GX 550. The Nissan is definitely going to be our workhorse, I think. So we'll see you next time. Appreciate it.